Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Creating Wealth. And we have our amazing mentor, Robert Allen. How are you doing, Robert?
Awesome. Life is good. Deals are everywhere. And yet I bet some people are having trouble finding deals.
That's right. So many people nowadays, since we have a hot market nowadays, they're like, I can't find deals. It is too hard. I'm going to give up on real estate. But we're here to destroy those fears. So, first of all, what is the current situation for a real estate market?
Hot.
Burning hot.
Yeah, you put an offer in and there are 10 people who want to buy it. So how can you compete with that, especially when you're buying with little or no money down? If you're not swimming in cash, how do you find the deals? So you have to go wider and deeper. That's the answer to your question. You have to go wider and deeper. Wider means you have to go outside the area that you're comfortable in. And there's always, in every major city, within a 4 or 5 hour drive, there are other smaller cities around it where the demand is usually less. And you can just do some research on that. You can check on what are the days that properties stay on the market. So if you have a really good real estate listing service, they'll actually tell you the single family homes in this neighborhood are remaining on the marketplace for X amount of time. And that's an interesting number to watch. So suppose you're in San Francisco. The prices are really high. Everybody wants to live there. They realize it's expensive. Get over it. You know, if you want to get in, then get in. Go buy something, right? But as you go outside of San Francisco, you're going to go into other cities, San Jose, we're on talking about California now. Yeah, it's still going to be pretty hot. You know, you're going to go out to a little further north, you go up the coast. Now people are starting to go out there too because they're finding difficult times finding properties in these major metropolitan areas. So everybody is going out. They're going north, south, east, west. They're going to places they never thought of going before, like the Midwest, where they're buying properties in Oklahoma and places like that, which is even still pretty hot. So obviously, I want to look into a metropolitan area where the number of days that a property has been on the market is going higher and higher. I'm watching that trending. I'm watching for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It seemed like that number, 32 days on the market, 35 days on the market, 40 days on the market, is trending up. That means that the market is softening just a little bit. Well, why is it so hot now? Well, when you have $4 trillion dumped into the marketplace, that money's got to go somewhere. Guess where it happens when it goes into the stock market? Well, the stock market goes nuts. It goes up and up and up during the pandemic. And then the results of $4 trillion being poured on the marketplace causes inflation to happen. And therefore, the bad news gets to the stock market and the money runs from the stock market. Where's it going to go? Is it going to go to a bank account at 0.5% interest? I don't think so. Is it going to go into a government bond, at 2 or 3, 1, 2, 3, 4% interest? I don't think so. Because inflation at 8%, you've got to find something where the rate of return is 20, 15, 20%, right? What can give you that? Not very many things that can give you that. You can own your own business. That means you can't be a passive investor. You got to be active. You got to run the business. You got to manage it. You got to take care of it. That's harder to do. It's not active. It's not passive. Everybody wants passive. And yet passive rates of return are. So how do I get my money into passive? Well, you can join a conglomerate of investors, an investor group. If you got some money, you can find a group of people who have pooled billions of dollars together, and you can end up with a tiny little slice of that huge big pie. And that might work for you. It might give you a higher rate of return, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15%. That's if you put all the money into it. I don't want 15%. I want 150%. The only way to get 150% is if you use leverage. And that means it's always going to be better if you're buying a single family property or a single property that you own by yourself. It's riskier. It's more active. It's harder to do, but the rates of return can go through the roof. So all this money is chasing these few properties. that's called supply. The supply is going to increase because all the foreclosures are going to come back on the marketplace. All the builders are now building as fast as they can possibly build, and new companies are starting to build more and more affordable housing all around the country. Will that keep up with the demand? Will it get sucked up immediately? I don't know. But eventually, I think the supply will start to balance out. Now, back to how do you find deals, right?
I'd say that you need to think outside of the box, or at least in this case,
it's wider and deeper. Now,
right.
you can. There's a software that I kind of like. I'll remember the name of it here in just a second. But for $100 a month, you can get access to 40 or 50 different listing services across the country. And you can go deep into these other listing services. It's called Privy, Privy. I probably shouldn't be saying that here on our calls because we could probably get you into that. But the bottom line is, with do some research if you want to figure out where else to do this same kind of research. But there are companies that literally have listed every property in the United States, so they know the actual property number of the millions and millions and millions and millions of properties that are owned by somebody in the United States. And you can go deep into these various different software packages. You just do your own research, you'll find them. But Privy is one of them. I met the owners and I really like these guys. It does cost some money to be able to get it. But what they'll do is they'll say, would you like to know what the average listing price is in Memphis or in Miami or in Boston or all these 40 cities, major cities in the United States? So in other words, what I'm saying is you can go wider and you can do research right from your own home and your own computer. You don't have to fly to Memphis. You can just do it right from your own computer. And it'll tell you the properties. It'll tell you properties that are listed. It'll tell you properties that have just sold, have been flipped, have been fixed up, fixed and flips. All the comparables. The data is exhausting. It's just like unbelievable. And for such cheap, I keep telling those guys, less than $1,000 a year for that kind of data is ridiculous. It's too cheap. And it is. But that's how you go wider. Now, going deeper means you have to find ways that other people are not going, routes to the top of the mountain that nobody else is using. And one of the reasons why you find a lot of people going to a real estate agent, for instance, and looking at the MLS is because they're lazy. Real estate people are lazy. They just are, and they're cheap. They're lazy and they're cheap. What can I say? And so let's go to a real estate agent because it doesn't cost us any money. We pay a commission eventually, but right now they'll do all this work for free. And that's cheap. And they're lazy because I want somebody else to do all the work for me. Therefore, the agent does all the work for free, basically, until they eventually, and if it doesn't sell, they don't get paid. So that's cheap. Now, therefore, they're going to go to the avenues that everybody else is looking at. They're looking at the listing service. Now, I told you in a previous podcast about going to the county courthouse. And very few people are comparatively. Let's say the horde is going to the multiple listing service and looking at every brand new property that pops up. That's lazy and cheap. Courthouse is a little more work. You got to go to the courthouse. You got to find out all the properties that have been listed for sale. You got to find the divorces. Anybody who has a lien filed against them, it's going to be a public record immediately. Everybody can see it. So I could go lazy and cheap there too, meaning I'm going to have to pay some money, but not that expensive, to somebody else to compile that list for me. Then I can pay somebody else some money to send the letter I write to all these people. I could get a little team of people to do all the little jobs that I don't want to do, and therefore it's harder to do. The harder it is to do, the less number of people will do it. I told a story in a previous podcast about climbing to the lake above the cliff. And since it was harder to do, nobody climbed up above the cliff where all the fish were, right? They stayed down and fished in the lakes where nobody wanted to go, or everybody wanted to go, sorry.
But I mean, the harder the climb it was, the better the reward that you're going to get by
Exactly.
doing it.
Exactly. So you ask yourself the question, how do I go deeper? So this is a question you should be asking every friend you know who is in the real estate game. What is your trick? What is your way? What is the system you figured out that kind of gets around all the hordes of people? Okay, so is it possible to get some software that would give me the names of property that are vacant in the United States? Could I get them vacant? They're not owned by anyone, and they're not rented. Is there a way to do that? Yeah. What if you texted them? How could you text them? Well, they call it skip tracing. You may, if you've ever just beginning, you've never heard of that word before, but skip tracing means they reverse engineer the address to the person who owns it. And you get their telephone number. And don't send them a letter. It costs too much. For 10 cents, you can send them a text. You can send 1,000 texts a day. Automated. Talk about, now it does cost money to rent that kind of service. Sometimes it could be $400 or $500 a month, plus another $500 a month for all the texting you're doing. So you say, why would I spend $1,000 a month? Well, what if you texted 1,000 people today, and what if 10 of them said, "Yeah, I'm willing to sell"?
You already got 10 deals.
You already got a deal.
Yeah.
You already got a deal. In other words, talk about lazy. This is lazy and expensive. But which would you do? You want to go lazy and cheap and go where all the hordes are? Or you want to go lazy and expensive and it costs you $1,000 a month? Or you work with people who teach you how to do that, and we coach you and we guide you in exactly how to do that process. And if you're doing this by yourself, you don't want to do this without coaching, without mentoring. That's stupid. Because you're going to spend as much money making mistakes as it would cost you just to hire the best anyway. So why don't you just hire the best? And therefore, avoid all the mistakes, avoid all the embarrassment, avoid all the loss, just get it done, right? But maybe say, well, I don't have the money to do that. Well, then you're going to have to go where all the hordes are going. Go to the realtor. We'll be free. It'll be cheap. They'll do all the work for you. And you'll get nothing. You'll get no results.
That's right. And I feel like one of the reasons why most people say, I can't find any deals in this market and this and that is because they're not even asking for help. There's so many people out there willing to help you. Like there's so many investors, even within your area, that are already buying like deals.
Yeah.
Even in a hot market, they're still buying deals. So just go talk to them and be like, how do you do it?
I'm shocked by some of my really, really high level investor friends. And they tell me all the little crazy things they're doing. And they're buying, a property a day in this marketplace. And what people should be doing is, you should be, check my link in the bio and on the podcast or however they get to it, maybe you could partner with me because we've got the deals. We found the deals. We've got the systems for finding them. We just looking for a few people who really want to partner with us. So, hey.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
I know, because there's so many great opportunities for you. And at the same time, real estate is more of a game of networking, I would say. The better your connections, the better deals that you're going to have access to. Let's say that you have a couple of friends of yours that practice law.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you know what? I have a couple clients that they're looking to sell their houses.
Right.
But you're an investor. You can help me. You can help them. So those connections, those are the ones that will truly allow you to.
That is going deeper. And that means if you're not a people person, this is probably terrifying to you, but you should belong to your local investment club. Almost every city in the United States has a local, they call it a REIA, R-E-I-A, Real Estate Investment Association. It's a club.
Oh, that's cool.
They got them in Houston, they got them in Boston, they got them in all the major cities. Those clubs were started by me. By me. This was 40 years ago when we launched the RAND groups. They're called Robert Allen, Nothing Down. And we had presidents and vice presidents and helpers and groups. And they met every month, sorry. And then one of the RAND presidents got sued by the people because he was doing things that were unethical. And they sued me.
Oh my gosh.
I had nothing to do with the unethical stuff. But so I decided to take my name off of all those groups. And therefore, they morphed into the REA, the RIA groups around the country, and there are hundreds of them. And therefore, I would say, yeah, go there. If you're looking for deals, people sometimes will bring a deal to that event, saying, I need somebody to help me with this deal. Yeah, you should belong to that group. In addition to that, you should belong to some kind of a service organization, a group that you belong to. I joined a group back in my beginning years. It was called the Executive Club. It was formed by some people who wanted to just network with each other, and they didn't want to join a Kiwanis or a Lions Club, which is really, really heavily service oriented. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all, but we decided that we wanted to be less service oriented. We would each pay our own gifting, other money we made. And so we would have a speaker every 2 weeks. And I would recommend that you start a group like this, believe it or not. You find you find your only realtor involved, your only real estate investor, you find a doctor, a dentist, you find an attorney, of several types of attorneys, you find a masseuse, you find every kind of types of businesses that are involved in your city, and form a group. And have them say, would you like to join my club? There's no fee. The lunch is usually around $30. So in order for us to rent the room and everything else, it's $50. So you have to pay like $50 to come to this lunch every 2 weeks. And there's no assignments, there's no fees, except for the food you eat. It's basically what we call ourselves. We have no socially redeeming value. That was our motto.
Oh my gosh.
But we did deals with each other. And I did a deal with a dentist. I did a deal with an insurance salesperson. I did deals with all kinds of them. And they had the money and I found the deals. And then we partnered together and I got 50% of it. That's how we got started. So sometimes when joining a group like that, you let them know that you're the real estate guy and you try to make it so there might be a residential realtor part of it. So he's not dealing with investment properties. And then one of you is the real estate agent investment type. And therefore you're helping find deals. And therefore when people in that group, their networks become your network. Do you get that? Suppose you have 100 people in that group that meets every 2 weeks. Maybe it take you 6 months to get to that number, a year to get to that number. But once you have a group of people, every one of those people has 100 friends they know that they have what I call make it happen power. When you know somebody and they owe you, because in your lifetimes, maybe you saved them in Vietnam, or maybe you helped them out with their child that was sick and you came over and babysat them for a while, they owe you. So these 100 people that each person knows, many of them are make it happen people, means they owe you, you owe them, whatever. And you go to this group of 100 people, I'm looking for real estate deals. It's hard to find them these days, but if you know of somebody who needs to sell quickly, I'm your guy. Bring the deal to me. It'll get done. And you know me. I've been here for a year. Will you trust me? We're friends. You just bring them to me, right? So what happens is 100 of those people, they all know 100 people like that. And they bump into strangers every day. So if I have 100 people times 100 people, I have 10,000 contacts.
You just increase your network.
Per month. 10,000 contacts per month. And so I'm saying one or two of those people is going to bring you a deal. And therefore you have another unorthodox way of finding deals that ordinary people are not willing to do that kind of work. They're not willing to form a club or join a club or partner with somebody to make a club. They're not even willing to do that. But I can guarantee you that'll be the most profitable thing you ever do, because inside that club is every resource you will ever need. Every dollar you ever need, every credit access you ever need, any information you ever need, all the wisdom you'll ever need will be in the group of people you befriend.
That's right. And I feel like it also comes to being proud of being an investor. Like, not a lot of people go around saying, oh, yeah, I'm a real estate investor. Just because they're scared of the judgment. Don't be scared of the judgment. Go around and say to everyone, yell it to the world.
Here's how I get around it.
I'm a real
People
estate
ask me
investor.
what I do. I ask them what they do. We were chatting. I say, I have multiple streams of income.
Oh, that's awesome.
I go, one of my streams of income is real estate. I have another stream of income. I have this other business that I do. I have some stock that I invest in regularly. I have multiple streams of income, but if you ever meet anybody that needs to sell a property quickly,
let me know.
I'm your guy. I'm your guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll treat you to the dinner at the best restaurant. Just let me know. Just pass it to me. I'll let them know that you told me.
That's right. Become your own marketing service for what your experience is, which is real estate investing. Thank you so much, Robert.
Hey, there's so many more things we could talk about. We just scratched the surface of the unorthodox, or another way of saying that, the creative ways of finding deals that most people have never even thought about.
So
good luck, everybody.
Go out there and let's get those deals. Thank you so much again, Robert, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.